See it? Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. Listen, I always see my husband doing this, and then I'm like, what you going on your phone for? But now I see. At least at this time though, babe. Sometimes I'm like, no, I can tell I'm live. Am I live? Did it make it through? What's going on this evening? It's your girl, Dr. Tanya Jonah Scott, and I've been meaning to come up here ever since Monday. This was in my heart on Monday, and it's just been a week. So though you didn't know, I still thank you so much for your patience. Do you see me as live, Dex? I haven't gotten there yet. Oh, there it is. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, guys. Hey, welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. Let's tag somebody. You know, even as we talk, if there are people that you think about, let's put their names down, all that good stuff. And why do I ask that? Because I really think what I want to talk about tonight is something that we all need to hear. You know, it's something that we all need to be mindful of. And I'm going to share something my sister-in-law sent on our little, we have a sibling family thread, and she sent it to us in regards to what their daughter, my brother's daughter, my niece, actually was looking at that day. And hey everybody, I cannot tell who's up here. Let me see. I can't tell, but I thank you guys so much for being here. Give me a minute. I'm telling you, I really believe that this is something that everybody should know about. Many of you may already do. But when she sent this message to us, for me, it was like, I cannot believe that I'm actually seeing this. My sister Erica sent like really angry faces over as well. And I called on the name of Jesus when I saw this. Now, here's the question I asked. I asked everybody here, what responsibility do we all have as it relates to what our children are exposed to? I want us to think about that. Okay. Then my other question was, does money matter? Does money matter? And why do I ask that? I ask that because I was one who refused to pretty much earn it, you know, outside of having a job. And having a job, hey, it's great if that's going to be my source, my primary source or what have you. That's perfectly fine. But one thing that I was so afraid to do, I was so afraid to get out there and earn additional. For me to start a business, for me to look for more outside of it being a job. And especially when I would hear about the possibilities of what it is that I could have, what it is that could grow. Are you hearing me right now? So I shied away from it. All right. Can I get a little bit deeper and really get real with you? You know, I'm a transparent kind of girl. I want people to understand. So I share my story. I talk about different things because I desire for people to really understand. Oftentimes in life, we think we're alone. You know, we feel like I'm the only person who thinks a particular way or who feels a particular kind of way, only to find out that you're not. So can anybody relate to me, Tanya? All right. So here I am, I'm living, I'm growing, I got different things happening and going on. It was like 2009 or so. I was introduced to a business, joined with my sister-in-law, and did well. It was the first time in like 4 to 6 months, something like that, earned 6 figures. That was the first time in my life that I had ever earned 6 figures. I was working a job and I had finally made it to 50K a year. And that was something we wanted to do. But why did I want to do that as well? We wanted more income. And I just kind of felt like I'm not even earning $50,000 a year. And with that, taxes coming out, all the things, you know, the responsibilities that you have, you know, we were paid once a month, me and my husband, when we broke work. I worked for the county, he worked for the state, but even our income together, it still didn't total 100K coming in for the year. Why do I share all of that? I share that because I want you again to understand the position that we were in, and I did want to earn more. I wanted to be able to, you know, get my children the things that they needed, as well as sometimes what they would want. I did want to travel. I did like to go out to dinner. But if we didn't always have the funds to do so, what happened? Hey, you just compromised and you still had a good time, family game night, watching TV, or whatever it is that we desired to do. But when it was introduced to me, I was afraid as a woman of faith, as a woman of God, a daughter of Zion. Come on now. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to chase money. Why? Because the love of money is the root of all evil. And for me, in my mind, if I sign up for this and begin to say, yes, I want to build wealth, and I begin to think about, if I were to begin to think about, you know, what this money would actually do for me, and if I were to begin to think about traveling and having and going and doing and all that kind of stuff, then Tanya, you're in love with money. And honey, if you getting to fall in love with money, that's the root of all evil, and you about to be in some trouble. That was me. Started the business, made my first 6 figures ever in life in about 4 to 6 months. I think it was 4 months. And it blew my mind. And I was scared. I was scared of a couple of things, what I just described, but I was also afraid of losing it, because I'm like, how do I maintain this? What is this going to be like, right? So I went through that, okay? I had a friend that I was talking to one time. She was used to it, okay? She was working with Fortune 500 companies. She was an entrepreneur, and now we're friends. We met at church. We got really tight, and I admired her. She was amazing, but so humble. And she looked at me one day. It was Thanksgiving, and she was like, "You afraid, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes." And I started crying because I was so freaked out by the whole thing. Well, let me fast forward a bit. As fast as it went up, it came down. Okay. And what did I think? I thought I was being punished, and I felt like, oh my God, God is not happy with you, nor is He pleased. And because I felt that way, I went into what I like to call hiding. All I wanted to do at that point was, I did not care to go back into the workforce. Negotiated with my husband. I'm talking to him. I'm like, is there any way you think I could stay home? He had found a job and everything. He said, we can do it. But what I sacrificed was my health insurance. So he and our children were all covered with medical insurance, and I wasn't. And we did this in an effort to be able to take care of our bills, but for me to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. And that's what I did. Very active in the church. We were youth pastors, just all kinds of things going on. And we're just moving along, you know, so forth and so on. But I'm also the one, I cover the bills, I take care of it, I pay everything. And Tanya knew how to rob Peter to pay Paul, you know, when the time came. Do you see what I'm saying? Other times we want to get the credit card and all of that, trying to keep it low, but it didn't always work that way. And at the same time, can I be honest with you? A lot of times you're in places where you really don't, you're going to have to put yourself in situations and in places where you're able to grow. When you're in a place where all you ever know about and see about are the things that you were initially introduced to, and that's on any spectrum, then that's all you would actually know. I had to begin to expose myself outside of the circle that I knew, and this circle only brought a certain type of dialogue and talk. Can anybody move from there? Yes, but it's a decision that you're going to have to make. The exponential growth is not just in my pocketbook, but it's in my life. The exponential growth is not just in my wallet, but it's in my mind. It's in my relationships. Those things will also grow for you when you search them out. And that's how it needs to be, family. Can I tell you now, some of you may have just been joining. You didn't hear what I opened up with. You see my question up there with the live. I asked everybody what? I said, what responsibility do we have as it relates to what it is that our children are exposed to? I mentioned my niece. It was just not too long ago, a few days ago. I was going to come here Monday. It's taken me this long. So it had to be, I don't know if it was Monday or Sunday, somewhere up in there, that we received a text message from my sister. Can I share it with you right now? All right. So I pulled that up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Listen, listen, listen. All right. Some of you may have already been made aware of this. Some of you may already know, but I wanted to expose it. Because after I saw it, I started reaching out to my sister. I sent it to the Scott family sibling, you know, thread list that we have on our phones. On our, you know how you do when you texting certain people. So we have our own group. So I sent it to them because I wanted to make them aware. I sent it to our daughter because of my grandchildren, and I wanted to make her aware. So how many of you have seen this, babe? You might have to help me do it. I don't know if there's a show. Which one do I hit to show that? Show the, can you reach it for me? Give me 1 second, okay? Let me just, look, I got my feet all up. Yeah, thanks, babe. Can y'all see that? See what that says? Look at that. Sole contract. Whoever this Goopy LaGrande is. And look who's the sole contract is. What office is that coming from? What office is that coming from? Do y'all see that? Okay. And even in the middle, I remember my brother-in-law, Greg, looking and saying, you can't even tell what those words are saying in the middle there. And I looked at that and we were blown away. And of course, a lot of anger even came. But literally, that's what happened. My sister even responded. She said, Jesus, angry face. She says, there is a new Disney cartoon called Little Demon, Born of a Virgin. It's airing in Australia and a few other places. What do y'all think about that? So I go back to my question. I said, what responsibility do we have in that? So the first step I obviously took, I called family the same way she showed us. I called our daughter for our grandchildren because I said this was on YouTube. So I'm like, just be mindful. Encouraged to go ahead and block it, right? So that when they go on YouTube and they're watching different things, it's not one of the choices that actually comes up for them. So that's one of the decisions that we actually made. I wanted to bring it to you. I wanted you to be made aware of it. I want us to continue to talk to people about it. I want us to block. I want all of us to block our children from ending up watching something that's talking about your soul contract, wanting to take your soul, your children's soul, signed by, according to this, the devil's office. And then something else out there talking about little demon that's born of a virgin. Come on, somebody. What we gonna do about this? What are we gonna do? So now, I had the other question, does money matter? And the first thing that I also thought about, one of the first things is, that's why we have to get in position to do what? If I want my children to see a particular thing, that am I in position to put it out there? Am I in position to create my own cartoon, my own movie, my own television show? Come on, are we writing the books? All of these things require what? Income. It requires money. But if the enemy can continue to come after us using the word of God that's for us against us to put us in positions where we won't take the necessary action, where we're afraid to step into the very birthright that we have that's been given unto us, that's a problem. And yes, you see my passion. Sometimes I try to bring it down, but I can't help it. It's who Tanya is, y'all. Because I feel. And my desire is to see all of us live the lives that God intended. But it's all for his glory. And the enemy would have our minds so twisted as he had mine to not feel good or confident about what it is that is my right, because it's a responsibility. And you know, and I thought about something, this was been even prior to this coming out. Let me share this with you. I thought about how, and I'm gonna bring it to a close because I know our attention span is so short. It's so short. I had people come up here and gone and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, but share it. Share it. Come back and watch it later if you gotta leave right now, okay? But one of the things that I thought about recently, even prior to our sister sending this to us, was help me, Lord, bring it back. I thought about this. I thought about, remember I mentioned about having a job? And I said, again, it's so amazing because God, there's so much you can talk about. Casting judgment, right? We have so much judgment against people, even for those who may be up here on social media, and we may see them, we may see the travel, we may see the lifestyle, we may see the different things that they're able to do, and it gets to some people and they get angry or they get frustrated, or we draw conclusions and we think a particular kind of way about them, really not knowing anybody's stories, and sometimes not even knowing their motives, their hearts, or things of that nature. And we may see, and let me make it even more specific. Let me make it even more specific to what it is that I want to say to you. A lot of times when we see people celebrating, happy, being joyful, about increase that's happened in their lives, however it may be. Money, a new vehicle, moving into a new home, maybe rental property, launching a new business, having a good month, having a good year. I'm just throwing things out there. These are things that people may get excited about, right? Being able to do things for their children, with their children, whatever, and they want to talk about it. And we don't know how to celebrate with them. And we draw conclusions about the person or the situation as if, you know, they're not of God. They don't mean well. They are loving money, those types of things. But then I sat there and I'm just thinking, and then this thought came. I give God glory because he dropped stuff, okay? And it was like, well, why is it okay to get excited and be happy about a raise? I'm working a job, and after going through the year, and it was time to sit down with our supervisor and actually go over how things went. You know, they want to sit down now and look over and do like a review of your year, and at the end they're going to determine based on the score, and I remember that happening, what my increase would or would not be. And I'm like, can I get 5%? And we may get 1, we got 2. That's what I remember doing. Sometimes I remember some years where it's like, we can't give you anything, but we're going to give you some more vacation time. And for us, I can remember saying, gosh, if we can just get this increase. And to get that increase, it was like, because I can think about how it's going to help in whatever situation. But then the insurance would go up. So the very increase that we got was then taken away because the insurance had gone up. You see what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I was happy. I wanted it. We wanted increase. I'm going to ask the question again. Why is it okay to be happy and to be okay with increase that we get by way of employment? And it's okay for somebody to say, yes, yes, got a raise. Oh, yes, yes, this happened, as it relates to that particular circle, but not over here in another circle when it's an expansion. I ask that question. And I'm going to tell you, my thing is, going back to the love of money, and just kind of dropped in my spirit just a little while ago, the love of money is the root of all evil. And when people even talk about, like, for us to say what we want to do, what I'm bringing to you right now about what it is that we want our children to watch, and being in a position as children of God to be able to bring those types of things. And it's like money, and it was like, money don't matter. It ain't about money. You're right. It's not about money. So what is it about? And that is what I'm saying. It's about what my children see, what my grandchildren see. It's about the things that's being put out there to get us off track. It's about the things that's out there to have us to actually be in a position of doing absolutely nothing. That's what it's about. So my next question, after we've determined what it's about, is how do you resolve that? How do you fix that? How do we keep things from being available to us that's not good for us? How do we make the choices available to us better? How do we add to the choices that are currently out there? How do we do that? And what does it require? And now I'll say the scripture as I close, that money answers all things. That's also the word. So we don't want to love it. We're not going to love it. It's going to serve us like it's supposed to. But even for going out to the restaurant and there's a staff there to serve me, they still have to be hired. They're still necessary in order for us to get what it is that we come for in that environment. Let money do its job in your life. Let money do what it needs to do for your family. Let money do what it's supposed to do for the kingdom of God and all of his citizens. And I'm a citizen of the kingdom. Are you? And the last thing I'll say, because if you haven't seen already, my next conversation camp, it's called Soul Therapy Collectives. And this will make sense to you, like, Tanya, what does that have to do with it? Remember when I told you how I was in such a place where I was afraid to earn income outside of what I was already doing through my job, that I was afraid to, go after my dreams, and the fact that I looked at something and said, man, I would love to experience that, or travel, to Hawaii one day, or whatever the case may be, that I would question myself. And I would actually question, my brother is calling me. I hope that didn't stop anything. I would question myself. You want to reach out to him for me? I would question myself. I would question my heart. I would question my motives. Do you see what I'm saying? All of those things I would actually do, but where did that come from? Where did that come from? It came from rejection throughout my life. It came from the lack of confidence that I had in myself because of how I was treated as a little girl growing up. It came from, the opinions, that I carried often of myself. I was very judgmental of myself, but also of others. Because see, you try to look for something wrong with somebody else, even though you see some right in your life, but then you want to look for something wrong. Why? Because you always found something wrong in yourself. Oh, I'm helping somebody right now. What's your point, Tanya? My point is I need healing. My point is to find myself in these types of situations, what you gonna do about it? And that's why this birthed out of me. Because one thing that I want all my sisters to know is you matter. What I want us to do is to be healed of the things that we've gone through, the traumatic experiences. I want us to get into a position where you feel heard, where you know that you matter. I want you to be in a position where you don't allow yourself to continue to be used, mistreated, abused, connect in the wrong relationships. You understand what I'm saying? And it's time to also put yourself first. And all that means is you're going to take care of yourself. And that's why I birthed Conversation Camp. It's next month. I want you to go there. I want you to take a look at that too. Because it's when I was in that place that kept me from stepping into who I really am, and even knowing that it was okay for me to earn additional income. That's my story.
I put the link in the comments.
I don't know if you can connect with that at all. You understand what I'm saying? But that's my thing. The enemy knows what he's doing. He knows how to get at you. He knows how to put limitations on your life. He knows how to have you question yourself. He knows how to get you out of position. So we got to do something about that too. Everything goes deep. And it's the deeper you go, the more you can pull up and throw out and get in position.
The link is in the comments.
All right. My husband said he put the link in the comments. Soul Therapy at is spelled out, A-T, Soul Therapy at thelakehouse.com. All right. I want to see you there, and you won't be sorry. I can't even speak enough right now about it, but you won't be sorry. You will not be sorry. And God is going to meet us there. He's already there sitting up. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for joining me on tonight. Share it with anybody you think who may get something out of it. I would really appreciate that. I appreciate your time. Love you much. And we'll be talking again really soon. All right. Good night, everybody.